Whoa. That is like, wowzer, guys. Sorry about that. That is really bright. I didn't think it was going to be that bright. My gosh. Ooh. Maybe put that behind it a little bit. Let's see. Whoa. I did not expect that to be so in your face. Hold on 1 second. Let's try this out a little bit different then, because I did not expect it to be that bright. There we go. Maybe like that. We'll just do that. Hi Floyd, hi Tiffany. Wow, okay, so way brighter than we had expected that to come across. All right, we'll go with that. Hi Kelly. Hold on guys, trying to get the camera to set right. There we go. Maybe Felicia, how are you? Not gonna lie guys, my stomach is killing me. I'm gonna take some of these chewable antacid. I'm good. I just have a really nasty like sour stomach. I ate a salad earlier with some balsamic, and I don't think the balsamic sat well with me. So my stomach is like angry. And I just finished feeding the babies. I'm gonna take these chewable antacids. I don't know how well these work. Oh, hard as rocks.
Well, that kind of happened. What you gotta say now, huh?
They're literally hard as rocks. My jaw's actually clicking.
Oops, is all you gotta say.
These little ones can eat. Let me tell you what. I remember with Rigby's litter, it was really difficult for them to eat. I had a really hard time getting food in them. We have a litter of 5. Full term. She's fine. She's actually gaming right now with some friends.
Yeah.
He's good actually. Tiffany. He when they start meowing, he's a little bit of afraid, but then again, the last time he had any other kittens around him, he was still blind and deaf. All his siblings passed before he turned even 5 days old.
Yeah.
Not yet, Felicia. These guys are way too young and tiny for him to play with. Like way too young. Like these guys are only 4 days old. So they're still blind, they're deaf, they don't walk yet. They just scoot around on their bellies. Whereas Rigby is 6 weeks old today, and he is very active. He plays and he does, the big rabbit thing with his back paws where he plays with his toys. Like he's got a big monkey toy that we got him, like a stuffed beanie toy, and he just beats the crud out of it. He also plays like with our hands because of course he doesn't have any other, hi Leslie, any other like playmates. So he bites, and he bites hard, which is normal. And normally they would have litter mates to kind of scream at them or meow at them when they bite too hard. But they don't have that right now, like for him anyway. So yeah, he won't be able to play with these guys for at least another 3 weeks before these guys are actively running around and playing. So for now, we're working with Rigby on that. He's doing so good. The past couple days, that was why I started to get really worried about him, was because the past couple days, all he does is chew at the bottle nipple. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna destroy the last one. And we can't get any more for a couple of weeks. Hold on, my shorts are actually giving me a hard freaking time. By the way, my shirt says, good, hello everyone. Yeah, she gets the giggles back there. but he started to only chew, hi Chelsea, on the bottle nipples instead of actually sucking the milk out. So we were losing bottle nipples, like they were just dropping off because he would just chew the crud out of them, or he'd bite down on it and he'd do the little and pull on it and just rip the front of the bottle nipple. And of course you can't, if you're not get him eating out of the bowl, you can't really get him to not do that on the bottle. So as soon as he would start biting, I would take the bottle away, wait for him to calm down and then give it back to him, and then he'd do the same thing. We're doing good. And so I was like, okay, he's got to start taking solids, because he just refused. Like, I could not for the life of me, no matter how hard I've been trying since he was 3 weeks old, to introduce solids. And that was just by introducing it, really watered down with his formula. Just getting him to taste the difference, like, adding a little bit of the wet food to the formula, making it very, very run down, put some of it in his bottle to get him to get the taste of it. And he would gag, like he would literally retch at the smell of the bottle. Like he was like, nope, not taking it, don't want it. Then I would try it in the bowl, and he would, like, literally, if you put the bowl in front of him, he would put his face like this. And he'd turn his face away, and if you tried to follow his face with the bowl, he would just pull his head up like, don't even with me. Wanted nothing to do with it. We put a bowl in there with water in it, he would avoid it altogether. Hi, Angel. So I was like, Rigby, you really have to start eating solids, baby doll. Like, I was just like starting to worry, because he kind of plateaued at 15 ounces. And he stayed that way for over a week. Like, he just wasn't gaining, and he wasn't losing, but he just wasn't gaining, and he needs to continuously gain. And so finally yesterday, I got the newborns in. We got the babies in at 5 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, after I had these guys like fed and settled down, I went and sat with Rigby in his bed, in his little enclosure, and sat down with him and decided we're just going to play with the food. We're just going to play with the mushy stuff. We're going to see what he does. So I had put it on my fingers, and he loves playing with my hands. And so he, at first, a couple times he smelled, like, the smell of it on my hands and kind of avoided my hand. They're really cute. And so finally I just kind of, grabbed him and opened his mouth and put some of it in his mouth. He gagged the first time. No surprise there. And so I was like, come on, Rigby. Like, this is something he's been doing for the past 2 weeks, where he just gagged like you were, that was the worst thing in the world. And then finally I got another bit of it and got it in his mouth. And this time he kind of just sat there with it in his mouth. He didn't gag, but he didn't like spit it out. He didn't try to chew it. He just sat there with it. And I was waiting for him to do the whole gagging thing. But he had calmed down by this point, because he was freaking out earlier. And I just kept playing with the food. And so he sat there with holding it in his mouth, and I started playing with my fingers in the food. And I brought my hand back over to him to, touch his mouth, and he swallowed and then bit my finger. And I was like, there you are, that's what I want to see. And so I brought him closer to the bowl and started like playing with the food, and he saw my fingers in the bowl, and he was like, okay, wait, that's the thing I just bit, because that's what's got the yummies. And then it was almost like, and I watched it happen, it was like something just went click, and he dug his face in there. No, you don't want to do that, Leslie, because then you can make them frightful of it, so you don't want to do that. So what you do is you just put it on your finger, and you just introduce it slowly to their mouth so that they get the taste of it. If you put their face down into food, you scare them of it, and so then they associate the smell of the food with aggressive behavior, and you don't want food to be an aggressive behavior. You want them to bless you. Tonks over there sneezing. You don't ever want to shove their face in food or put their face down to food, because Mama would never do that to them. She would introduce it to them by usually regurgitating. And so she would encourage them in the way that cats and dogs can speak to their litters, to come over and see it. So what I'm doing for him, like when you do introduction, is you put a little bit on your finger and you introduce the taste of it, the smell of it, little by little, so that way they get used to it. Rigby is behind at about 12 days, roughly 9 to 12 days premature. So he's behind the curve. So most kittens start kind of introducing and checking out mama's bowl at about 3 to 4 weeks old. Rigby was not interested whatsoever until now, just turning 6 weeks old today. So he's off the, he's definitely behind the curve. Bless you. You all right over there, big boy? Bless you, man. That's a big sneeze. You got to be careful with that because kittens use their nose for everything. That includes breathing. So putting something on their nose can cause them to aspirate. So you want to be careful doing that. That's why you just take a little bit and you just kind of put it up in the end, like in the roof of their mouth. So you just put a little bit at a time. What I usually do is just put it on my finger and let them smell it. So they start getting used to the scent of it. And with Rigby, what I did too was I put some of it on his bottle nipple. Just so that he started getting an association with the different taste, the texture, which made it easier because the bottle nipples are really small. But yeah, that's why I said, like, if you're ever going to foster, make sure you do your research, make sure that you know what you're doing before taking in any little ones. Yeah, these little guys anyway, but Tonks is back there sneezing up a storm. Good boy walking on that leg. Yeah, I know. You're getting so old, buddy. Mr. Old Man over here. Yeah, I know. I'll get your food in a little bit. You get your dinner in a little bit, okay? I know. Old dude. Mama's old dude. No, he just was playing on the ground, and so he was rolling around, and there's the cat hair in the floor, and it gets in your nose, and so we even get it on us some days. And this carpet is pretty old, and so it's got a lot of dust. And so, yeah, the more he plays around, because he was doing his little rolling on his back thing, like scratching his back thing, and he gets all the dust kicked up. And he happened to that's as bad as like when you're putting like his leg's totally fine now. He walks on it, runs on it, and he's fine now. Boopy Snoop. Boopy Snoop. I got your Snoop. Tonks will be 9 next month. So he'll be 9 years old in 5 weeks. Yeah, in about 5 weeks he'll be 9 years old. Old geezer. Mom's old geezer. Yeah. But okay, you say so. He's right here, by the way. Those ears. I love those ears. I do. You're the best ears in the world. You gonna tell everybody? Say, yeah. You're so funny. He's such an old man. He's such an old man. He's my little old man. I love my little old man. Yeah. Not on my bed though, because all your guys' hair gets in my nose when I'm trying to sleep. Yeah. His face, he has so much white hair on his face. Like you can't really tell on camera, but if you get really close, like if you're like sitting in person with him, his all around his eyes and everything is all turning white. So I think by the end of this year, he's gonna have a majority of his face will be white. But yeah, he's an old guy. He's definitely an old guy. I'll turn that a little bit. There we go. But yeah, he is literally my sweet boy, and he knows it. He also really loves to milk when he does something, like the fact that he hurt his leg. So he'll try to like hold it up, and I'll be like, "You're fine," and he'll put it down and walk around. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He's like, Rigby's crashed out. He just ate a whole nother can of food. So tonight, because he is eating the wet food like a champion, tonight I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the little small bit, because he does eat some of the dry food in between. Like he'll go over there and nibble some of it. So I'm gonna take some of the dry food and mix it into his wet food dinner, and add a bit of formula, like you should. So that it's more of a gruel and not like really heavy. You don't want it really heavy and thick. So thin it down, put some of the kitten chow in there so that he can start getting a little more of the dry food as well. But so far he's done great. He's had 2 bottles today. His second bottle though, I had to take away from him because he started doing the whole chewing, like literally chewing on it, putting it to the side of his mouth and churning his face and biting, which is like one of the biggest indicators they're ready for weaning. Because once they start like nipping or biting at mama cat, she gets up and leaves them to their own devices, because She's not gonna sit there and lay there and get bit up or chewed up. And once they start chewing, that's when you have a problem. But the good part is we got new bottles when we got the babies, so they've got fresh bottles that we don't have to worry about right now. And the good part is Rigby eats, so him being here will help when it comes time to, almost knocked this over, when it comes time to introduce the babies to food. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Because it also depends on if YouTube, especially if it's on YouTube, if YouTube's ever unsubscribed you for any reason, it will backdate, like it'll change your it'll change your subscription date to a different date. Usually what I can do is I can go in and look and see who has been subscribed to me since when. Like it'll say like has been subscribed, since 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, it'll tell me. But that means I got to go into YouTube analytics and stuff, and it'll kind of tell you like who's subscribed and for how long, and how many days ago or whatever that they did that. Yeah, you've definitely been around for a long time, Felicia. I think you've been around, so like, let's see, were you here, like were you subscribed, like didn't see the video after the fact, but did you see the video when we went to California to be in the Who Knew music video for the kids being in Brian Lanning's music video? Were you here for that? Because that was in 2015. So let me know if you were there for that. So you were there when we did that. So I'm trying to think, were you there when Sarah had her, no, I know you weren't there when Sarah had her very first hospital stay in August and September of 2014. Because that's the year we started vlogging. Yeah, I know, Tiffany, you've been around for forever. I know Kim has been there too. Kimberly, she was here earlier. Not Kim, yeah, Kimberly was. Catherine, who I don't think is in the chat right now. Yeah, they're so tiny and so sweet. Here's the other thing too, and I'll give you guys a tip that is super important. If you are someone who owns a cat and your cat is having kittens, I hope that they're not, because they should be spayed or neutered. But if you take in a cat and she's pregnant by chance, or you weren't, you didn't have the means at the time to get your cat fixed and, accidents happen. The biggest tip I can give you is do not handle the kittens until after 2 weeks old, and only if absolutely necessary. Yeah, I know, Kelly, you've been around for a while too. Yeah, Felicia, you were definitely, I think you came in 2015. But yeah, so with newborn kittens, like with these guys, when I feed them and stuff, I handle them as minimal as possible right now. I pick them up, I clean their butts, make them go potty, because you got to stimulate them, because mama would do that at this age. So stimulate them. Allie! How are you, Allie? So you pick them up and you stimulate them, you get them to go potty. Then you feed them, and then you stimulate them again. So after that, you make sure you check everything, make sure the eyes look clear. Right now, of course, their eyes are sealed shut, so you want to make sure there's no pussing or any of that. You check the ears, make sure there's nothing, obstructing the ears and whatnot, and then you put them down in a nice warm space in town. So I have enough. Oh, yay! There you go. Yeah, probably about 5 years. Yeah, because this will be year 6. Nice, Allie. So yeah, so then you just put them in something nice and warm, because they can't regulate their body temperature, and they will get cold very fast, even in a little group like they're in. Yeah, you've been here for a long time, Chelsea. So that's the thing. Like Rigby, he still has, even though he's 6 weeks old today, we still have a sock filled with rice for him. He got too big for the disc. So we ended up, and plus he got to the point where he now climbs on everything. So we can't have the kennel thing for him for his little hidey hut anymore, because he was using it to climb and get out of the enclosure. And when they're as little as Rigby is, there's lots of places in a place, even though we're not in a huge space, there's spots that he can get under, like the dressers and stuff, and he can get himself into trouble. And I don't mean like trouble as in naughty. I mean trouble as in he can get hurt. And so there's wires in places, which I just bought a thing to start twisting up and securing all my wires, because if he's going to be an indoor kitty, we have to make sure that we make it as safe as possible for him. He's going to be amazing with the fact that he's super curious about the babies. When I'm feeding them, he comes and sits with me in his cuddler. By the way, thank you, Allie, because that thing has been a heaven send with Rigby. And so he sits in his cuddler while I feed the other kittens, and he just watches them. When they start crying, he ducks down inside the cuddler, like he's like, oh gosh, what are they doing? Why are they making noise? So he's definitely attached to me. Yeah, that was the thing, is I just you just have to kind of go back to like, when was the first video that you came to, like that we uploaded same day that you came to watch. And that will usually get you the day you subscribed is going to be usually the day, because we were vlogging every single day. So if you can go back and say, this was the video I watched the day you uploaded and I subscribed on this video, then you'll know, and then there was no other videos after that day yet, so you've been there since that and been with us since we started uploading each day. That'll give you a good guesstimation of when you first subscribed. Because like I said, for the first 4 years, we vlogged every single day. I kind of just backed off in the end of year 4 and year 5. So year 5, I barely put any videos out, and then this year 6, just not much. Okay, no problem, Ellie. But yeah, so the cuddler has been like the biggest heaven send. We had that nasty storm. I talked about that in the earlier live stream, and Rigby does not like storms. And that boy can tell you that a storm is coming hours before it happens. Even my dogs don't get antsy with storms. They could care less. Yeah, I know we've been told that a lot, but right now there's just not anything to film. Like, there really isn't anything to film. Being that we're here literally in this big room day in and day out. Also, today I went ahead and exited out of a program that I guess you could say was a major waste of time. Shania, hi sweetheart, how are you today? So out here they have several different veterans benefit programs that you can get involved with, whatnot. Grant, how are you? And one of the programs that we were part of was when we were living in the other house, and they help out with things that need to be done for the property, stuff like that. Hospitalized at Vegas Children's Hospital. Yeah, she was at the Vegas Children's Hospital. Trying to remember. Well, the only time she was hospitalized was when we were in Phoenix, for Phoenix Children's Hospital, when she had the big thing on her head and was being tested for, I think we were there for 9 days, 7 to 9 days. And then last year, Sarah ended up in Vegas, but that was at a different hospital in Vegas. She was at Valley Hospital or something like that. And she was there for a couple of days. Yeah, it was Phoenix Children's, and that would have been in, she got admitted end of August, beginning of September of 2014. Oh, you're making dinner tonight? Nice. But yeah, so anywho, the program that we were a part of, there was some issues, whatnot. We had just signed our lease with the property, and then the whole, I just dropped you guys because the thing started falling. Sorry. It's all right, Grant, I get you. Sorry guys, I did not mean to drop you. The thing up here started to fall, and I was like, oh no. But anywho, so the program, okay, this darn phone, oops. So the program is made to like help with like things that need to be done with the house and whatnot. But anyway, so we signed our lease and then everything happened. Like it snowballed out of control where we lost Penny. Then my boss passed away. My uncle, passed away. And then we found out that they sold the property, which now we found out that they didn't sell the property. What happened was the city cut ties with the company that owned the houses, and therefore the program was no longer covered under that. And so we had to vacate the premises. So it kind of just snowballed out of control. We tried to the program was supposed to help us find another location, right? So we were supposed, within that 30-day window that we had, the like 5-week window, while I was preparing the RV for the, oh no, just in case we don't find something else. They ended up switching our case manager, and then the new case manager was not returning any phone calls, told me that I need to make sure I stayed in contact with her every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And I would call and we'd get no answer. Then I would call every single day. At that point I was calling, getting no answer. We were like, hello, we need to find a place to live. And there's nothing. Like, we need to find something that's covered under this VA program. And we're looking and looking and looking, couldn't find anything. Yeah, it can be. And so she wasn't calling back. We moved into the RV because still nothing was happening. We got moved into the park. Everything was good. Moved up here, doing okay. Of course, we needed an air conditioner. We tried to reach out. She wasn't answering any of our phone calls. And then when she would, she'd give me like poor excuses of, oh, well, I'm still new to this and keep in contact. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 months with you, and you've literally talked to me twice on the phone. Well, today I ended up with a new caseworker because the other lady was let go for failure to follow through. Because my case management was up for review and recertification in July. We're at the end of August. Guys, beginning first week of July 3rd was recertification. My recertification didn't go through because nobody talked to me. So I was just like, the lady called me and she was like, okay, so we're a month and a half, almost 2 months behind on your recertification. So we're going to have to do all this stuff over again, which means I got to make an appointment all the way out in Lake Havasu, get all my blood work redone, and I was just like, I said, you know what? It's been 6 months without any assistance from you guys. None. We haven't had anything from you guys. Not one thing. You guys didn't help us get an AC. We had to dig deep in our pockets. I had to spend every last dime in my savings account to get my RV livable for us to even survive. COVID hit, leaving my daughter and I stranded in my RV, which was falling apart under our feet. And nobody from this program answered their phone. Nobody from this program returned phone calls. You switched my case manager right smack at the beginning of COVID. When COVID hit. And then that case manager, oh, you're supposed to talk to me, make sure you reach out to me, make sure you're calling me every week at this time. And no answer. I said, exit me from the program. I don't want to be a part of the program. Just exit me. It is literally a waste of my time. I'm not jumping hoops again. I'm not going to make all these appointments again just so you can recertify me because you guys screwed up and missed my recert window, which I already had everything ready for. And now none of that stuff is good because it's now over 30 days old. So there's COVID going on. You can't just get appointments anymore. So I had done everything I was supposed to do for the new recertification for July, and nobody answered the phone. And nobody answered my emails with all my paperwork. So everything expired in her inbox. And yeah. So I just told him, you know what? It's not worth the trouble. Just exit me from the program. We're making it on our own, and we'll stay right where we're at for right now while we save up, which is what I'm doing, putting money away because we need to save up so that way I can have a savings account again. That sounds like food stamps and Medicaid. Yeah, right. I'm glad I don't deal with them anymore. I'm so glad, like I totally walked away from all that stuff. we would qualify if I went and filled out the paperwork for it, but there's no point, you know what I mean? Like for me anyway, there's no point in reaching out to, one, because of everything that's going on, the length of time it takes to even get an appointment in there is just pointless. Two, I don't want to report everything that I'm doing to somebody over and over again. Every couple of weeks, you got to report something, and you have to take these classes. And if I'm taking all those classes, I can't take my classes. And if I'm not taking my classes, I'm not getting a paycheck. And if I'm taking their classes, I can't take care of the babies. So my fostering is one of my biggest things that I get to do here at home while I'm taking full-time classes. Yeah, right, management and the offices of like complexes, hello. But yeah, so these little guys are doing great. And so I had just decided after talking to her today, I was done. I was like, I'm done. She's like, I can't change the past. I said, I'm not mad at you because you're brand new to this. What I'm mad at is the fact that it's been 6, almost 7 months now, because it's been since February. So this is now August, 7 months of getting 0 interaction from my caseworker. Someone's getting mad.
What are you guys doing?
Oh my goodness. Her little froggy noise that she makes.
Where are you going, babies? You got to get back inside. Where are you going? Get back up here. Where it's nice and warm. Hi, handsome.
You guys, look at this boy. Look at this baby boy. He's solid black. Well, wait a minute. What did she say? Yeah. So this is Ezekiel. We call him Zeke. Big old boy. Okay. Which one are you? Oh, this is baby girl. This is Rainy. Say hi, Rainy. So Rainy, this is her color. She's got full belly. Rainy and her big brother, he is so big. Come here, big boy. Okay, this one is Arlo. Here's Arlo. He's the one that has the solid black patch down his back. That's Arlo.
My goodness, guys, where are you going?
All right. Where's Rainy's little twin? Okay, here we go. So, this is Rainy, and this is her brother Riker. Look at their size difference of their little heads. And then if you look at their little bodies, they have the exact same pattern, like they're matching patterns, but she is so much tinier than her brother.
I know, you're so noisy. There you go. Oh, goodness, where are you falling out to?
And then where's my little froggy voice girl?
Where are you going? Get back in here.
And then this is my little froggy voiced baby girl. This is Misty. She's the little tiny stripy, like she's got like the solid brick marks. But this is the other little girl. She's really light colored. Everybody else is really dark, and then you got Misty, who's very light. I know, you guys just ate. Like, you guys just finished eating. You guys gotta stay in your warmer. All right. They're actually not hungry. They just, I bumped the thing, which disturbed everybody. Hold on, let me do this. But yeah, so they don't need anything right now. They're gonna make a lot of noise because I just woke them all up. I disturbed them. So, oops.
Sorry, babies.
Good job, guys. They can't hear me. I don't know why. I'm talking to them. They can't hear anyway. Rigby's sound asleep. But yeah, so just had to put them back in where the warming plate is so they can keep warm. Yeah. Let's get some air moving in that way for them. But yeah, they all need like a really good bath. Mama never got them fully cleaned, and so I need to do that, but I also am like, I don't want them to get cold, because once their body temperature drops, then you run into all kinds of issues. And so I want to get them nice and cleaned up. Probably here, I'm gonna wait till 6, because that's when we're gonna hit like where our peak of temperatures are right now, just hitting. And so because it's hitting our peak temp today, it'll be nice and warm in the bathroom, so I can wash them in there and keep them in there with me while we wait for them to dry. Don't want to be turning on a hair dryer, because you don't want a bunch of that air blowing in their faces or anything. Yeah, so they're all laying back down. But yeah, so you just have to be like super, super vigilant and careful with little tiny ones like this. So like I say, fostering is not for everybody. All these guys will go up for adoption. Sarah is really in love with Zeke, but as right now, we have Rigby here. I don't need any male competition with each other, because then you end up with cats that spray, and you don't want that. And so Rigby's great for, one, because he's young enough and he's already being introduced to these guys and watching these guys and stuff. Hey, Grant. And we want to make sure that he's able to introduce and interact with the new sets of kittens as they come in. And we want to make sure that we don't disturb that balance. So all of these guys will be going up for adoption. We won't be keeping any of these. Hi, Joseph in Utah. How are you? But yeah. So that's the hardest part too. Like when you foster, foster fails do happen, and so you have to be like set at the apartments, the AC broke. Yeah, I hate when that happens. Like the funny part is, when we lived in California, the place that we lived was really, really good about answering phone calls and maintenance work, any of that stuff. You would usually have somebody same day. And then we moved into Arizona, and the place that we were living at, getting anybody to come out and fix any of that was like non-existent. Oh yeah, when we have a window AC unit here, not anything bad. Let's see here. Is this even gonna work?
I wasn't up here.
What the heck thing? I don't know why this is not working. Hold on, guys. This was supposed to send already. I know that there's no cellular, you darn thing. No, wrong thing. I need messaging. Messaging.
I'd say no. Sure.
Okay. Okay. Is that good? Now let's try it. It's not working. Oh well. I'll have to message him here in just a minute, because he's messaging me. What did that say? Oh, she's actually gaming right now. She's actually in a group. They're on, I think they're either playing Destiny or Fortnite, one of the two. So she's gaming with her gaming group that she does video games with and whatnot. One of the people that she's gaming with is actually live streaming, so she's in the game with them live. So my stomach is so sour today, you guys. Like, I regret eating that salad. The salad was good. I think the balsamic, my stomach doesn't like that balsamic. I would beg to differ, Grant. It is very popular still. Very popular. They just did an entire live, like a big live production thing on Fortnite itself of the big Fortnite competition, like the big, like regional competition, which they live broadcast through Fortnite. Like you logged in and went in, instead of going in and playing in a game, you logged in and went into party time lobbies, and everybody hung out and watched a massive screen in lobby of the big competition being played out. They also do huge competitions at gaming events and stuff like that. Good, people should get banned. I play Fortnite, and it's, yeah. There's quite a few of them. So we have Rigby, who is the oldest. He is my BB. He's 6 weeks old today. That's baby Rigby. Yeah, it's still talked about all the time. Yeah, Fortnite's still a very big game. But the newborn kittens, the 4-day-olds, are the males go in size order. We've got Ezekiel, which we call Zeke. Then we have Riker, and then Arlo. And then we have the 2 females, which are Rainy and Misty. I like 10 to 12. What do you mean by that, Gramp? Like, for me anyway, look at it this way. I play with a huge group of people that we do a lot of Fortnite together, and every last one of them that I play with is over 30. So I don't think the game is only just kids. There are a lot of kids that play it, but there are a huge group of adults that play it, especially on the professional level. So the big, huge professional games are people that are not little kids. These are people that are in their 20s to 30s who are playing it professionally. So yeah, I would say that, yeah, there's a huge chunk of kids that play the game, which is not a problem. But the majority of people that are competing at competing level, at competing age, are people that are no longer in their teens. They're in their early 20s to 30s that are playing the game. I know quite a few other people that are in their 40s, myself included, who play the game. So I think it's personal preference. Gaming is a personal preference. People have certain games that they love and other people don't. There's no such thing as underage on Fortnite. There is no age limit to play Fortnite. There's an age limit to stream, but there is no age limit to play Fortnite. I know kids that are 5 years old that are playing Fortnite. And pretty darn good at it. So I think it's just a preference, a personal preference. And if you let your kids play it, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, we run into some kids sometimes in game that are very toxic in game. My word, what are you so mad about? 1 second, guys. Okay, you two come here. What is with you guys? What is with you guys? You guys literally just ate. What's going on? Hold on, guys. I didn't think you would want any more right now. My goodness, little lady. My word, was you still hungry? Get everybody straight up. She's the one that doesn't like to eat very often, or as much as everybody else. So there you go. Are you better now? All right, let me get you real quick. You guys get your little booties back over there.
Oh yeah.
Come here, you.
Okay.
What you wanted? There you go. There you go. There you go. Get you two settled down, and then when the other ones will settle down. You get one of them screaming like that, it gets everybody going. So. There you go, big girl. Is that better? I still talk to them even though I know they can't hear a thing I'm saying right now. There you go. Good chug chugs. Yum yums. There you go, big girl. Okay. Well, you guys done finished that bottle off. Okay. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I know I've disturbed you now that I touched your sister. There you go. Okay. They let you know. Let me tell you. They let you know that you've disturbed them. There we go. Okay. The two girls have been like our lazier eaters of the group, so it takes them a little bit longer to get food in their belly. Hopefully they'll calm down now that little one is not screaming. Rainy is the one that was screaming for food. All right, now they're gonna all pile on top of each other and go back to sleep.
Oh God.
Yeah, this window is hot. I forgot how hot it gets just sitting in front of this window because I took the sunshade off of it. But anyway, let me go look back at this. Yeah, Rainy and the rest of the other kittens have like a really high-pitched meow, and then you've got Misty, who has this very raspy, almost sounds like a little like lake frog sound when she meows. It's the cutest thing ever. She has like a very distinct meow out of the whole group. So, you know when she's the one that's upset because it's like this little froggy, like it sounds like a ribbit. When she meows, it's really adorable. But yeah, so these little guys they're gonna be a week, we'll say Monday. Like I said, we don't know exactly their birth date. We're guesstimating by the fact of their umbilical stump and how it looks, and how how one, it's still intact, two, it was still slightly moist at the belly button area of the body, which is usually at about 3 days. So it should fall off either sometime today or tomorrow. They should lose their umbilical stumps. And all of them were still covered in a bit of afterbirth. They all still had some sticky spots of afterbirth on them. So mama still hadn't finished cleaning them. So I'm saddened by the fact that their mama did not come back. They looked and watched and did their due diligence to try to figure out where mama was. It appears that more than likely mama tried to move the kittens and was more than likely struck by a car or was picked up by a coyote. So it's hard to tell because of the location where they were at. Multiple cats had been found hit by cars, so it's not like we can pinpoint which one was their mom. But several cats in the area of where the babies were located, it looks like their mom may have been one of the cats that was struck by a car. So very sad. But these little guys did get mama for a few days, for a couple of days at least. So, you know, if people would, one, spay and neuter their pets, that's a big one. Because what happens a lot is people will get a cat, a female cat or whatnot. They won't get her spayed. She'll go into season and she'll yowl, which is obnoxious. I'm not even kidding you. It is the most obnoxious noise you will ever hear, and she doesn't shut up until she's pregnant. She'll go into cycles of heat every single month, and it'll last like 2 to 3 weeks of her yowling and making noise and being an absolute nuisance, and until she either gets pregnant or she goes out of her cycle. You'll get like a 2-week break in between, and then she's back at it again. And a lot of people, what happens is they don't get their pet spayed, and because of all the noise she makes, they put her outside to shut her, like to not listen to her. Well, doing that just sets her outside where all the males are at. And male cats find their way out of their homes because they can smell her in season for quite a distance. Up to a mile or more. They can scent, like they can smell her in the air, and they come looking. And so you end up with all these cats that are stuck outside that were at one point pets or house cats, who give birth outside, and because they are no longer indoor cats, their kittens become feral. Mama may be friendly with people, but the kittens will not be. And then those kittens, because they're feral at this point, they get pregnant, usually by one of their siblings or another set of kittens in the neighborhood, and it just snowballs from there. And so it's so important. One, a lot of places have programs that you can sign up for to allow you to get low cost or reduced spay and neuters done. So if you just do the research, you can get these type of things covered in your area. Because a lot of places want animals spayed and neutered. And so they offer lots of programs to do so. Out here, they have the low-cost spay neuter clinic and vouchers. So even with the low-cost spay neuter clinic, you can get a voucher out here that pays half of the low-cost spay neuter clinic's price. So you end up only paying like $50 to get your animal spayed or neutered. And it works out. Like a large dog, you can get a large dog out here at the clinic done, and it costs you $75, and the certificate will pay the other $75. So you can get things done for a much cheaper price, and it's a lot cheaper to get your animal spayed and neutered than to deal with them getting pregnant and then you having to do pregnancy care, maternity care for your pet, and then to top that off, then you have to also care for mama and the puppies or the kittens once they're here. And with having a mama cat, one of your biggest things that you want to do, especially if she's your cat and you're going to keep her and you're going to have her give birth to the said kittens, you want to get an ultrasound to determine roughly how many kittens you're expecting. Because if you just wait it out for mom to deliver and you think she's done delivering, and you're like, oh, all hunky-dory, all the babies are here, and next thing you know, mom is smelling really bad and the babies aren't thriving and mom is not being very productive milk-wise. Next thing you know, you find out mama cat never delivered all her babies. One of them was stuck in her birth canal. And now mom has become septic and toxic, and she now has to be euthanized. And now you're left with a litter of kittens that are gonna have to rely on you to bottle feed. And hope that they survive, because they have already hit the point of being lethargic because mom wasn't producing enough milk. So things like that can snowball really fast. So when people talk about wanting to breed or want their cat to have babies or their dog to have babies, if you are not a licensed breeder, then don't do it. It's that simple. Licensed breeders, usually the ones that are trusted and know what the heck they're doing, are the ones that take really good care of their animals that they're breeding. I'm not talking about some puppy mill crap where people have these animals in little cages and just producing babies like crazy, and just selling very unhealthy, very sick, very inbred babies. That's not what I'm talking about, because that's not responsible breeding. Responsible breeders do not breed their animals from their first cycle. Usually females are waited until they're 3 years of age before they are bred. That's cats and dogs included. And they make sure that when they're matched with a male, they're going to put the best qualities of both dogs together so that you come out with the best quality, litter. They don't, if you have a dog that shows signs of aggression or is just naturally tenacious, they may not use that dog for breeding. That one may end up being neutered or spayed, depending on whether they're male or female. Or even in cats, you want to know, you don't want to use traits that are going to cause problems in the future. So that's the thing. That's why you have responsible breeders out there. So if you're not a responsible breeder, spay and neuter your pet. Even if you purchase a purebred, get them spayed or neutered, especially if you have no intentions of breeding them, or no intentions of having the breeders continue to use your pup as breeding material later on, because you are not a breeder, so you shouldn't be breeding your animal, especially if you're not licensed. Fine if you want a purebred, that's fine, because there's people out there that have their preference, and that's fine. So, but do your due diligence, do your duty as a pet owner and someone who's going to do the work to make sure that what you're doing is right for you and the pet, for their health and for society. Because right now we have so many babies and dogs and pups and whatnot sitting in shelters, and it's super, super sad. And the part that really breaks my heart right now is because of this whole COVID thing, and people have lost work. People have lost jobs and are no longer able to care for their pets. Like, they're barely making food on the table to feed themselves, and they're having to surrender their animals to shelters. And that means a lot of these pets, especially out here, a lot of pets are being euthanized because there's just not enough room. And it's sad, because their two options are be euthanized at the shelter, or go to the shelter and hope to be adopted by someone, or to, you know, slowly starve in the care of the people who love them. Nice hair. Your hair is standing straight up. Do you need some more medicine for your ear? Huh?
It's fucking hot as hell.
I know. You want me to?
No, not hot. Like.
Oh, your ear is? Not on the outside, it's not.
It hurts, and I can feel the heat. Like, it's just.
Yeah. Did you want some more medicine for it? Or do you want to do some more,
That oil didn't help at all.
well, it's not going to work just the first time. You got to do it a couple of times.
The thing is that even when I went to pour it out, nothing came out of it.
It probably did, but very slowly. It's just going to trickle. On the dresser right there is the ibuprofen, and there's also the Tylenol, whichever one you want to take this time. Yeah, she's got a really bad, like, infection in her ear, and it doesn't help that her wisdom tooth kind of snowballed the whole problem. Yeah, I'm super irritated at her insurance for the fact that they should have just taken the other tooth when they were in there taking the other three. Like, what would be the point in leaving one wisdom tooth behind? You're already taking the other three out, take the fourth one with it. But because it didn't show any signs of an issue, they didn't cover them extracting that. So, really, really, like, stupid. So now her wisdom tooth is infected, which now hasn't gotten into her ear. So it's just been it's been a ripe old week, you guys. Like, not even kidding. But something I wanted to address earlier, I said I was going to talk about this. And so, if you are a male or identify as male, and talking about menstruation or women's periods bothers you, I'll give you the chance to leave before we start talking. Because we're going to go into some information about menstruation and some things that have been going on. Yeah, it's going to cost a pretty penny if you don't have insurance for it. But yeah, if you are squeamish about menstruation, this is the time to go ahead and step out, and not be here for this, because we're gonna go ahead and have some discussion. Wow, that goes right outside. So here we go. All right. Now, I was a late starter. I've already talked about that previously in other videos. So I didn't start my menstruating or my periods until I was 17. And even then, they weren't like, you know, crazy, whatever. Then I got pregnant and had Taylor. And they got really, like, heavy. and I would go for like 7 to 9 days, and they would be heavy the whole time. Super uncomfortable, but not unlivable. Then I had Sarah, and I had no period after having Sarah for almost 2.5 years. One, because I breastfed her for 2.5 years. So I had like no period. Then my period came back. After I finally weaned her, my period came back, and they were super, super short, but very, like, I'm talking like put me out. Like, I couldn't move. If I moved or walked or sneezed or coughed or sat up, anything, I would bleed right through everything. My clothes, the tampon, the pad, everything. I was to the point I was wearing a tampon and a pad and would still bleed through all of it. I would go through an entire pack of 30 tampons all in less than 24 hours from bleeding so heavy. And saw my doctor, and this was back when I was in the military. They put me on birth control to kind of try to regulate my period. So it kind of stretched out the days to about 3 to 4 days of bleeding versus just one whole day. Well, I've been out of the military, and so I no longer take the birth control pills because I can't get them prescribed because, one, I have my tubes tied, so they won't even prescribe me the pill, even if it is for other reasons other than prevention of birth or prevention of pregnancy. So recently, like the past 3 months, I've always had really bad periods. Like since having Sarah, I've had really bad periods. Just recently, the past 3 months or so have been really bad, like real bad, like excruciating bad. Not the bleeding part doesn't bother me as much. It's the pain, like the absolute agony. If any of you have had babies on here and you've had back labor, that's the same. It's the same feeling, but heightened. Like back labor, I had back labor with Sarah, and it was definitely painful, but it was bearable. This is to the point where it literally knocks the wind out of me. Like I can't breathe. Just moving, I can't breathe. I try to sit up, or I go to get out of the bed, and stepping or moving my pelvis, like just taking steps, like moving my hips, the pain, it knocks the wind out of me. I get dizzy because I can't breathe. I'm bleeding so heavy now too. I bleed for like maybe a day and a half. And it's so heavy that I get super, super nauseous and really, really lightheaded and dizzy. So it takes me out an entire day. The pain is the part though that I can't stand. Like if I can get past the pain, I think I can bear to kind of move around through the day and get things done. But right now, the pain is like, I can't even describe it. It's worse than labor. And so for me anyway, I was doing some online research, like different ways that you can kind of help with that. My doctor wants me to have a cauterization procedure done where they go in and they like burn the lining of the uterus. I'm not having any more babies, so it wouldn't make any difference. Also, it's hereditary, and my aunt had her uterus done 3 years ago, and she said it was the best decision she ever made, was having them go in and burn the lining of her uterus. She hasn't had a period in almost 3 years. She said it's the best decision she ever made. So I want to go in and get that looked at and whatnot, but with everything going on with COVID and whatnot, I don't want to risk any kind of being in the hospital. It's horrible. Like, and nobody talks about this. Like nobody, when I was growing up, like when you went to like sex ed and they talked about when you're going to have your period and when girls go through this and you're going to have, 7 days of bleeding. This was what they told us. You're going to have 7 days of bleeding. Your breast will be sore. That's usually the first sign that your period is coming. And then they, taught you how to put a pad on your underwear. They didn't teach you about tampons because, of course, oh, heaven forbid they teach young ladies about tampons. So it was always about using a pad and using feminine pads and how to clean yourself there and whatnot. But nobody talked about the symptoms that come with having your period. And nobody talked about the fact that when you do have a period, that they can be so debilitating. I've always had really bad periods. Like they've always either been really long and stretched out and heavy and like you didn't go do anything. Like you didn't want to be around people because just moving or whatever, you'd bleed right through your clothes, which was horrible. And then to go from that to having shorter periods, but even heavier, to the point of you couldn't even get out of the bed. The slightest movement would have you bleeding all over yourself, to now where I'm still having the severe heavy bleeding. And now along with it, I'm having excruciating pain. And I had an ultrasound done at my doctor's because I was like, I told her, this is getting ridiculous. Like the pain is unbearable. And then my ovulation, when ovulation happens, it is the worst. Like it alternates left and right, depending on like this month it'll be in my right side. Last month it was on my left side. This month it'll be on my right side. And it will knock the wind out of me. Like it'll take me out for days. After being on it, I stopped getting it. I haven't had it in years. Wow, Felicia, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't do the Depo. I did Depo, and it did the same thing to me that it did to my poor daughter. Sarah ended up having her period for almost 4 months, like just bleeding the whole time. For me, I ended up having it to where I had the Depo done the one time, and I bled, I think it was almost 6 weeks straight. Then didn't have a period for about 3 weeks, and then bled another 6-7 weeks. It was almost like I had just given birth or something. I had just was bleeding constantly. So no, will not touch Depo. They wouldn't even give it to me now anyway. My insurance wouldn't cover it. And I wouldn't take Depo anyway. But, so my doctor did an ultrasound to see it. Like she said, it sounded like I may have some like large cysts, which can cause a lot of pain. So we went in, and she said that the cysts that I had were not anything of any kind of concern. They were very small, and usually your body sheds them between cycles, which mine showed to have done so. So nothing of any significant size that would cause such excruciating pain. So she's ruled out any kind of cysts, but I'm really skeptical of that because, I mean, it's so painful. And I wish I could figure out what's causing the pain. Like there's gotta be something, right? I mean, it can't just, like I said the other day, I said, something's got to give, because I'm fine the rest of the month other than when I ovulate and then the day that I'm bleeding. So I've done some like looking into, Allie sent me a really good link with a lot of different things you can look at, some home remedy type things to help kind of alleviate pain. Like I always have like a hot pad. So using like a heating pack. Something she had mentioned, which I wish I had the money for, is acupuncture, but I honestly don't know how well that would work. See, that's crazy. My mother and my aunt were 9 when they started theirs. I was the only one out of all my sisters who had a very, very late period. All my siblings, sisters-wise, females, all started when they were like 12, like 11 and 12. And I did not have my first period until I was 17 years old. So very, very far behind on that aspect. Yeah. And then here's the thing. My cousin also didn't have hers until she was 17, just turning 18, had her first one. And now she's like a year older than me. She's 42 because I'm 41. And she just had another baby. And her hormones are kicking strong, I guess you could say. And I was having 2 cycles a month. Yeah, see, that's what was happening to Sarah. She was having 2, sometimes more than that. She would bleed for like 3 days. It would stop. She'd go like 4 or 5 days without any. Then it would come back and she'd bleed for like 5 days and then it would disappear. But I've always been very regular, like real, like I could count it out. And I've always been that way. Since my very first period, I've always been able to count it out exactly, usually right at 27 days, stretched apart 27 days. And so I can tell you right when I'm going to have my period. And it is horrible. All day yesterday, I didn't move. Like I couldn't get out of bed. So I just had Rigby laying up here with me. They brought me the babies. I stayed in the bed and tended to these little guys. I stayed up all night last night. 1, because I was in so much pain, but 2, I wanted to get these guys to where they were eating a little like more than what they were introduced because they were trying to eat every 30 minutes. So they really needed to have more in their bellies than what they were taking in. And so had to take the time to like feed them and burp them and feed them some more, so that way they were actually filling their tummies up and then sleeping for 2 hours. So we finally got them to where they're eating the right amount for their body weight. And so, which is a huge plus, because that means that they'll stretch their time of feedings out versus being every 30 to 45 minutes. Because you don't want them doing that, little tiny bursts. You want them to actually sleep in nice, good stretches, because that's good for development and growth. But yeah, so the point being is, guys, if you have daughters or if you have young sisters or whatnot, be very open about, especially if they haven't had their periods yet and you want to teach them about menstruation, like discuss this. Also, it shouldn't be such a icky thing for guys to learn about. I think that if more men understood what it means to go through that every single month, I think more men would think twice about using the stupid stereotypical line of, oh, she's just bitchy because she's going to have her period. You want to get slapped by a woman real quick, use that line. It is so disrespectful to use that line to say, oh, she's just bitchy because she's going to have her period. No, I'm not bitchy because I'm going to have my period. I'm bitchy because my body hurts and my hormones are raging out of control, and I have more estrogen streaming through my body, which makes you sensitive. But you know, you're uncomfortable. Your body down there, your uterus is contracting, so it's a muscle and it's working and it's doing stuff to empty itself out. So if you sat there contracting for 3, 4, 5 days, your muscles in your abdomen, if we had a guy just sit there and do crunches for 3 days straight, he would be in tears. He would be in actual agony. And then to top it off, once you stop doing the crunches on your abdomen, right? Once the muscle stops contracting, then the muscle's got to try to recover from it. So now the muscle hurts. So any movement or whatnot the next few days after that is uncomfortable. Then you got to deal with ovulation. So now your ovaries start kind of kicking up, right? And they're just like, all right, time to get ready for a baby. And so now your body is prepping itself. And then you got kind of a 2-week quiet window where your body is like, is there a baby yet? Did we make a baby? No. Okay, so now we got a couple of days just before your period where your body's like, all right, burst of hormones. Because here we go. We're going to empty this thing out. We're going to try again. So we'll wipe the chalkboard. So when you think about it, if you have to do that literally every single month, from the time you're, some girls as early as 9 years old. Could you imagine being 9 years old and having to do that every single month until you're in your mid 40s to mid 50s? Like, that's a long time to have to do that every single month, to put your body through that. It's excruciating and it takes a toll. So when somebody says, oh, she's just bitchy because she's going to have her period, or she's on her period, is just so disrespectful and rude. So if you're a man and you are watching and listening, don't do that to your significant other, especially if your significant other is female who menstruates. So if your significant other has a menstrual cycle, please be kind. Yeah, Debbie. Like, and that's the thing is, like, most of my cousins, all of them didn't have menopause until well into their mid 50s. So if I'm anything like that side of my family, I will continue through my mid 50s, which is why most of them had children up until they were in their late 40s, which is crazy to me. I can't even imagine right now trying to have a baby. One, it'd be terrifying with everything that's going on. Two, I'm 41. I can't even imagine going through all of the schooling years again and and elementary school and junior high and high school and dances and sporting events and, you know, all the things that go with having kids. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot. And I sit back and I think about, like, if it would have been 6 years ago, when I was in my mid 30s, I would have definitely thought of I definitely wanted another child. Right now at 41, that child would be in kindergarten, first grade right now, which would be perfectly fine with me. But to have a newborn right now and have to be doing all those things when I'm 46, putting a kid through school and into my 50s, I don't, and my other kids having kids of their own as well. Yeah, you definitely have to be on the more careful side, Tiffany, because you are pregnant. So, yeah, definitely. Wow, just sitting in the window made this water hot already. My stomach is so sour, you guys. Like, I can taste the stomach acid. Yuck. But anyway, so that was the thing I wanted to touch on today. So, just be mindful of the menstruating people, menstruating members of your family, or the people in your life. And I say that because there are people who are transgendered who still menstruate. There are people who identify as young males who are still menstruating, and it's not fun. So if you have any person in your life, no matter what their orientation is, if they have a menstrual cycle, be kind. Oh, they took all of yours at once. Yeah. I wish they had done that with her. She wouldn't be where she's at right now with this stupid infection in the side of her face. And getting in with any doctors right now has been, like, especially out here, when you live in an area like we live in, which is, you would think we would have more access to things, but we don't. You want anything good, you got to go all the way out to Vegas, but you got to get insurance to approve it because it's Nevada. Or you got to drive all the way to Phoenix, which is 4 hours away, and still got to get pre-authorization from your from your insurance. They took them because of your seizures. I don't know. They didn't take Sarah's because they took hers out because they were causing shifting of her teeth, and her teeth are already to the point she has no bite. And once her other wisdom tooth had started dropping in, they realized that she now had no way to chew because her other teeth were not coming together. She at least had the two set of back teeth back here where they were able to touch and she could chew. But then when her wisdom tooth started coming in, it took away that connection. So she had no way to actually chew. So they took those out. Well, they left the one in. I don't know why they did. So, but yeah. But like I said, guys, just be kind to the people in your life that are menstruating. Sorry, guys, my phone keeps... I don't know why that number keeps trying to call me this late in the evening. Nobody is doing business this late in the evening. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here because my stomach is on fire. Yeah, idiot doctors. Like, seriously, why would they not take her other tooth out? I just don't get it. I don't understand. It wasn't even the doctor. Honestly, it wasn't even the doctor that was the problem. It was insurance did not authorize him to pull that other tooth. So, I mean, in all honesty, as much as I know it, you don't want them to be dishonest. The fact being is, when you're in there and you already know you're taking all three of the other ones, just write on the paper the other tooth was showed signs of concern, so we removed it. Insurance will cover it. But no, he didn't do that. I wish he had, because then that way we would just be done with it. But now we have to wait and get a whole nother new authorization to get her tooth done. So, which means we got to make a whole nother trip all the way out to Kingman so she can go to the oral surgeon again to get her tooth removed. Okay, seriously. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. My stomach is super, super sour. I gotta figure out something to put in it to calm it down, because it is freaking out. Like, I have so much stomach acid just bubbling in my belly right now. So yeah, apparently that balsamic dressing that I used, my stomach did not like it. The vinegar in it, I think. And I also ate some pickles. Like yesterday I ate some like homemade pickles and that were brought to me, and I don't know, it was, the pickles are really, really delicious, but really, really soggy. So yeah, I am gonna call it a night. I think I'm gonna try to get a little bit of sleep tonight. With these little ones, earlier they did a 4-hour sleep stretch, so I'm gonna try to push that to their nighttime. So hopefully we get them to sleep at night. So if I can get them to stretch a 4-hour sleep stretch at night, that's gonna be a big plus. But otherwise, guys, you guys are amazing and whatnot. You know, hang in there. I know things are crazy. And yeah, take it easy, everybody. Relax. Take it day by day. Tiffany, you take care of yourself and that baby. Hopefully you're feeling good and continue to, you know, feel good. And everybody else, you all are amazing. And we'll see you guys in the next video.